Hello, this is Heather Neuenschwander from Flute Specialists. I'm here today with Dr. Eric Delgado, composer of a new-to-be premiered piece called Olas No Tienen Fronteras. Do you want to say it better than I just did?
Olas No Tienen Fronteras.
You
But
did.
yours was great.
Thank you. Yours was better, but this is a piece commissioned by Flute Specialists, written for B flat flute and E flat flute, as a part of our exhibitor showcase, the highs and lows of harmony flutes, meant to showcase these lesser known flutes like the B flat flute and the E flat flute. And in order to support those instruments and support living composers, we've commissioned this piece for this duet combination. So I want to take this opportunity with Dr. Delgado to have him tell us about the piece that is going to be premiered.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. So yes, my piece is titled Olas No Tienen Fronteras, which in Spanish means waves have no borders, or waves do not have borders. And this piece specifically was inspired by my own upbringing in San Diego, California, where I'm coming to you from right now, actually. And it just kind of really explores the switches between lighthearted, fond memories of playing on the beach, just being able to like play in the waves, but also be somber and melancholic about the reflections of the border itself dividing the border wall itself. If people don't know too much about it, actually goes straight into the Pacific Ocean and kind of tapers away, and it's still considered the border. So those waves will crash into the wall itself and be divided. But this piece really wants to speak to breaking down those barriers and thinking about it from a musical perspective, switching a lot between different musical worlds at times. Like there's a little bit of like a neo-romanticism at times, and other times there's points where it really kind of flourishes. So I wanted that really to be the highlight of this new piece, which is going to be premiered. So I'm very grateful for it all.
Was it easy for you to decide on this style? Were you at all influenced by the NFA theme this year, which is Music Beyond Borders?
Yes. So I was very much inspired right off the bat from the theme of Beyond Borders, Arizona being where Phoenix, where the convention will be, right next to San Diego. And it's interesting, kind of a small little anecdote about that. Growing up, there would be a lot of people from Arizona coming to San Diego to enjoy the beach in the summer, especially when it's very hot in the Southwest. So in that kind of regard, there was kind of an instant click of this is the theme that I want to go towards. Stylistically, I have been exploring a lot of different types of approaches to duet writing. I do write a lot of chamber music, so this specific piece, like writing for B flat and E flat flute, was an interesting challenge because I had not heard of these instruments before. I had to do a little bit of research, of course, but also it just kind of helped me connect because I am a flutist myself. I've been to NFA a couple of times, and I really just enjoy working with this sort of medium of new instruments, but for a theme which I think really, again, clicked with me right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. I feel that each of our premieres, we're doing 3 premieres as part of this showcase, and I feel that each one really shows a bit of the composer's personality, and this piece definitely, I do feel, shows a bit of yourself. Would you like to speak to that?
Yes. So I mentioned earlier, I am a flutist, and in high school, when I was living in San Diego, I played a lot of duets and etudes, as many young musicians do. And I was very much attracted to this kind of idea of quirkiness and also just really having a lyrical side to each instrument, inspired specifically by the Anderson etudes, which I know most flutists do perform at some point or another or play through. And for me, at least, this piece has a lot of kind of quirky stops and starts, which really also fit in with my own personality as a composer. But as a musician as well, I like to play a lot of lighthearted music, but at the same time, I also like to play some more somber things, especially in contemporary music where really anything goes. And as a composer, we're really thinking a lot about, as composers, we're really thinking about lots of different types of musics to be influenced by. So in this piece, I was very much influenced by my own upbringing, playing etudes and duets. And at times, I think the piece kind of has a little bit of a duality to it, where the etudes and the duets are kind of being more tapped into, as opposed to like this new style that I write my own personal voice. So kind of bridging the two worlds, which kind of goes with the theme of borders as well.
Yes. Oh, this has really informed how I will be preparing this piece. I'm glad we're speaking about it today. So I think you spoke a little bit about this, but perhaps you have a bit more about the compositional challenges that come with taking on this type of commission.
Yeah, so one of the challenges was just kind of thinking about these instruments which I hadn't heard before or worked with before. Transposition is a big one for a lot of composers, thinking, okay, these are two instruments with different transpositions. They have different timbres, they have different things that make them work. In terms of challenges, the fingering, just because I knew the fingerings of the instruments, really worked out quite well. Because I could figure out, oh, I could take out my C flute and it'll be the same, it'll be the same fingerings. But knowing that they are different soundings, sorry, could I repeat that part?
Yeah.
So knowing that the instruments have different sounding pitches really made it quite a bit of a struggle at times, because I'm thinking, oh, this is like what I would be playing on a C flute, but it's actually a different sound. So the timbres for those, I do use quite a lot of the specific timbres for each instrument to benefit, like I'm thinking about the piece itself. So there is one trill that's technically impossible for the C flute, D flat to E flat, which is right above middle C, but on B flat flute it's quite easy. So some things which were challenges, I tried to really turn around and make them positives. Another big challenge for this piece specifically was just the turnaround. I had not too much time to prepare the composition, and it also kind of coincided at the same time as I was finishing up my doctoral studies, depositing my dissertation. So it was just kind of a little bit of a juggling of different things, which I think quite helped with the piece, bringing it together. Just really had me focus razor on every moment that I was working on the piece.
Well, and we congratulate you on finishing your studies and having an extra project on top of it. Thank you for your work. Absolutely. Do you have any thoughts about what makes this piece unique in comparison to so much of the flute repertoire that's out there?
Yeah, I think with this piece, I really kind of wanted to have lots of switches back and forth, many characters, if you will. And I don't know too many pieces, at least in the flute repertoire, that have these sort of miniature moments, like maybe 10 to 15-second moments, which switch very quickly in a duet fashion. At times, they do seem like they're like characters that are fighting between each other, which does go with the waves theme of like waves crashing into each other. And sometimes they're in the same direction, but other times they're in opposite directions. And so one kind of very clear example of this would be the scale that comes up a lot in this piece. Scales kind of start and end and start at different times between the two instruments. So they start kind of hocketing and overlapping in just different, very special ways, I think. And a listener of the piece for a premiere, I think a little bit of a challenge would be to think, okay, who's playing what scale at what time, or who's starting at what time? Because sometimes it does have a little bit of a shepherd tone effect where it seems like one is starting, but then the tones, the timbres are kind of melding together. And it can be a little bit difficult to discern where one starts and the other one ends.
Yes, we've been working on that in our Zoom rehearsals. But I really do love some of the spots where the waves crash together. You can definitely hear your ideas coming to life. It's magical. It really is. Yeah. Do you have any other upcoming projects that you would like to promote today?
Sure. So I just had another premiere for a string orchestra piece called Recuerdos or Memories. That was last month. It was premiered by members of the Orquesta Filarmónica de Jalisco, the Philharmonic Orchestra of Jalisco, and the Orquesta Sinfónica Juvenil de Zapopan, or the Zapopan Youth Symphony Orchestra. They both played in Guadalajara, Mexico. And I'm hoping to have a world premiere or US premiere in the fall, October or November. The dates haven't been quite set. That'll be in the Midwest in Wisconsin, hopefully. But there is an excerpt of the piece on my SoundCloud. So soundcloud.com/Eric Delgado Music. If anyone wants to go out and listen to a bit, I think it's about a minute of the piece, this 5-minute piece for string orchestra called Recuerdos.
Interesting. I will check that out as well. We'll see if we can link to it for you as well.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, we are looking forward to premiering Olas No Tienen Fronteras. It will be on Saturday, August 5th in Phoenix at 11:15 a.m. local time in room 129A. We are very much looking forward to it. Thanks for meeting with me today, telling us about the piece, and thank you for your work.
Thank you very much.